Today is the Saturday, 3rd May 2025. It is the 182nd session of Mindfulness for Beginners in English conducted by Nissarana Vanaya. I would like to warmly welcome everyone for this session and especially Venerable Dhamma Kusala Thero. And our program will commence as usual with the in-session practice of mindfulness, which will then follow on to the talk on today's topic, which is a continuation from last week's topic, which is on happiness. To begin the session, I'd like to now invite Venerable Dhamma Kusala Thero to start the in-session practice of mindfulness.
Thanks, Sonali. Hello, everyone. Today we'll do a few minutes of mindful sitting in order to start the program. For this, you can turn on video if you like. Then adjust your posture. Make sure that you are seated comfortably. Once you are comfortable and balanced in your posture, you can gently close your eyes. Simply be present and notice what you feel. You may hear surrounding sounds. You may feel bodily sensations. Time to time, various thoughts, memories, planning, these things grab your attention. Among all these things, we simply try to be grounded in our body. Notice how the natural breath goes in and it comes out. We try to be grounded in the natural breathing of our body. Sometimes pain, irritations appear in your body, and it's natural that you feel sleepy as well. But among all these things, we return to the breathing. We simply try to be grounded in the breathing. Let's try to continue for a few more minutes. Okay, everyone. That's our time to do mindful sitting today. This is just to give you an idea about the practice, so you can practice on your own. With that, Sonal, you can take it.
Thank you, Bante. So this will lead us to the next item in the agenda is the talk on today's topic. This is the same topic we started last week, which is happiness. I now invite Bante Dhamma Kusala to start the talk on today's topic.
Okay, everyone. So this is a topic which was a continuation from last time, but I wasn't there, so it's like a fresh one for me. This is a good one, interesting one. Let's try and see how we can really relate this to the practice that we are doing. Now, all of us, in a way, what are we seeking in life? That's a question that you have to ask. By doing all the work, earning, and building a family, doing all the other responsibilities. So all these things, what are we striving for? I think all of us, in our own unique ways, we strive towards happiness. That's what we are doing. I'm sure different people have different approaches towards it. And they don't feel like happiness is the goal. But still, when you analyze it, when you dig deep into the matter, all of us, in a way, are seeking happiness. We have our different ways. Some people, they try to build a successful family. Make sure that they earn a good income. Right? So that way, they try to find happiness. And others might approach it differently. They would prefer traveling, seeing different sights, eating different meals. That way, they try to travel, they try to enjoy the world, and in the process, they try to find happiness. Some might use drugs as a way to find happiness. They like that experience, they like that high. So in a way, they are seeking happiness by consuming drugs. We sometimes go to these rehabilitation centers, and most of them are young boys. And when you talk to them, you can clearly see that they have used drugs as a way to find happiness. They had a problem in their family, so avoid the problem, they got addicted to drugs. Or maybe a breakup, since they couldn't handle it, they were addicted to drugs. So they have different stories, but when you analyze them, you can clearly see that they are seeking for one thing. And those boys, those people that are there, they are from well-off backgrounds. The officers there, they say, Bante, you won't believe, if you see the parents, you won't believe that this son is in such a place. Because the parents are from Colombo, parents are well educated, parents have lot of money, prestige, but still their son is in such a place. So you can see, they too try to find happiness in their own way. It might be a destructive way, it might be temporary, but still they seek for happiness. Right? So this way, we start to find happiness in different ways. We seek happiness in different ways. if you think about it, if you think about your life, you also have various ways of seeking for happiness. Maybe satisfaction from your work, that could be one. Maybe creating a good life for your children, that could be one. Right? So in a way, we all try to seek happiness in this life. But trying to strive for happiness, it won't do. That's the thing. Whatever we achieve, it's temporary. It lasts for a while, but soon, due to other circumstances, it changes. Whatever the amount we earn, we have ways to spend. Again, the next day, you have to start earning. Whatever the delicious meals that you consume, no matter how much you consume, no matter how delicious it was, next day again you get hungry. Same goes for the other things. Consuming food is a great example. No matter how much you eat, no matter how delicious the food is, again in few hours, again in the next day, you get hungry again. So it's a never-ending hunger that we try to satisfy. Same goes for the desire, same goes for the seeking happiness. We try to find happiness, we try to seek happiness in various ways we try, but it's a never-ending process. You are satisfied for a while, but in few hours, again, there's this lacking. You are satisfied with something, in few days, again, there's this lacking. All right, so it's a never-ending game, never-ending process. Time after time, you try to find it, but it feels like you found it. It feels like it lasts for a while, but soon, again, there's this lacking. So this process continues time after time. Right? So how to find real happiness in this life? That's the very idea of this practice. And we have a very nice quote. It's from Ajahn Chah. I'm sure you have heard of him. And he has many books about his teachings. He says, when you no longer cling to happiness, you can begin to be truly happy. First, you have to stop clinging. First, you have to stop desiring. And as a result, you can begin to be truly happy. What is the meaning of this? Now, let's say our mindfulness practice. When we do mindful walking and sitting, what is the practice that we are doing? In a way, we try to be satisfied with the present moment. We try to let go of the clinging. We try to let go of the desires. For example, let's say the few minutes of mindful sitting that we did today, we sat in a comfortable manner. We closed our eyes and we simply brought our attention to the present moment. And when you do that, you can see that the mind is not accepting the present moment. The mind is not satisfied with it. It will start clinging, it will start desiring. Sometimes it will tell you that this won't work. I have to go do something. Sometimes a family problem might come to your attention. You start thinking about it. Sometimes you feel you have much better things, important things to do. So this is the clinging mind. This is the desiring mind at work. As soon as you sit for a few minutes, you can feel it you can feel how the mind is desiring. You can feel how the mind is clinging. So in a way, in our practice, we try to let go of this clinging, at least for a moment, at least for a breath. We try to let go of this desiring or clinging. Same goes for the mindful walking as well. We walk in a comfortable manner. We try to be present with the walking. We notice the bodily sensations of the walking process. We can feel the sensations at our feet. But as soon as you try to do it, it's not easy. Your mind starts storytelling. It might analyze the surrounding sights. Various problems, memories start rushing towards you. So this way you can see, although you try to be present, the mind keeps clinging, the mind keeps desiring. Even the problems, you might say that it is not desiring, but even the problems you are desiring. That's why they are problems to you, right? So this way you can see the mind keeps running, desiring, clinging after things. So for a beginner, it's not easy, right? But we have to start somewhere. We have to practice time after time. And with little practice, you can feel that you are able to be satisfied with the present moment, at least for a little while. You are able to catch your breath for a few breath cycles. You are able to stay with your feet for few steps, right? So this way, we have to practice. We have to develop the ability to be satisfied with the present moment. Just talking about it won't do. Just thinking that the meditation is good, it won't do, right? You have to practice. The practice is not easy, but that's the way to develop it. Little by little, you develop the ability to be with the present moment. You develop the ability to let go of the clinging, let go of the desiring. And as soon as you develop that ability, you can feel that your mind is a little comfortable. The mind is little satisfied. You don't have to give anything in return. The satisfaction comes automatically. Why? You were able to be present for a while. So that's the way. Even little children, maybe after practicing for the first time, they say, I could feel peace within me. I could feel this cloud9 kind of a feeling within me. After 15-20 minutes of practice for the very first time. So our mind, it has the ability. But usually we have to put some effort and reveal that ability. The ability to be present. The ability to stop the clinging and desiring. And when you do that, you can feel when you let go a little, you can feel a little happiness, a little peace. When you let go a certain amount, you can feel a certain amount of happiness. And when you let go a whole lot, you can feel a whole lot of happiness. This is the way, right? And then only you can truly begin to be happy. Earlier we were striving towards something. But when we let go of that striving, we can really see the happiness, the peace, it arises. It arises from within. You don't have to give anything in return. You don't have to pay it money. You don't have to eat luxurious foods in order to find it. Instead, from within our mind, it arises. And this is a very nice feeling. The mind is calm and comfortable in the present moment. The mind is satisfied in the present moment. In a way, it's a life-changing experience. For a beginner, maybe for the very first time in their life, they feel that the mind is satisfied. The mind is happy. In a way, that's a good vibration. Even other people, when they see this, they feel that good vibration. They don't know what the practice is, but still they feel the comfort in the practitioner's face. They feel the good vibration of that walking, right? So that's how we can do a silent sermon about the secret of happiness. We do our practice. As a result, the others feel it. You don't have to speak words. Instead, they simply feel it. Now, I went to this program. It was Neville Fernando Hospital, and they have this program, monthly program for pregnant women. It's called Mindful Clinic, right? So this one, they have built so many walking paths in the hospital. I think that's the only hospital that will have so many walking paths in Sri Lanka. It's a rare sight to see a walking path. In my life, till I come to Nissarana, I haven't seen a walking path. Usually in temples, you don't see it. But in this hospital, you can see so many walking paths. They have built in the corners many walking paths. And we do the program once a month. All the pregnant women and relatives, they come and they join the practice. And all the patients in the surrounding buildings, they are simply watching. It's a strange sight for them. What are these people doing in these walking paths? What do they do in the process? Right? So a strange feeling they get. They have so many walking paths and they can feel, they can see that the others are doing a walking meditation. And they have this special handyman who will do all the walking paths for them. He supervises everything. He makes sure that they are according to the standards. But the fellow is not walking. Right? He will help with all the walking paths. He will oversee the projects. But he is not walking. Even during the program, he stays without walking, just seeing the sight. He doesn't want to do the walking practice. He simply supports the making of walking paths. Right? So when the patients in the surrounding buildings, when they see the people walking, they get this good vibration, a strange feeling. And the doctor told me that sometimes they simply come to the walking paths. They don't know what the practice is, but simply they walk for a while. They just follow the others. They simply walk back and forth in the walking paths. So that's a good vibration. Those people, they don't know what the practice is, but they try to copy it. They try to see what this strange thing that they are doing. Even there was this girl who tried to commit suicide a couple of months ago, and she was in the ICU back then. And she was out cold. She couldn't feel anything. She couldn't notice the surrounding. She was in the ICU, tried to commit suicide due to some issue or problem. And the doctor told me that after a couple of months, they revisited with the parents and thanked the staff for saving the life, and even did the walking practice for a while. This depressed, suicidal patient, a couple of months ago, she was in the ICU, but still she could try and do the walking for a while. I don't know whether the practice worked, but at least they tried to walk in the path and tried to feel the good vibration. In a way, when you meditate, you have that good vibration. Even the places that you meditate, they develop that good vibration. Right? You can feel the happiness in the atmosphere. You can feel the peace in the atmosphere. That's how you can little by little develop this practice. And when you let go of clinging, when you let go of desiring, you can really feel that your mind is happy or peaceful. Sometimes you let go a little, you feel a little happiness. That's what the beginners get addicted to. We tell them this practice is great. You simply do for a few minutes. We say that this is one of the best drugs that you can have. It is for free and it is risk-free. So you can try it. Right? If they do it, and within like a couple of hours, they start to feel it. They start to feel that the practice works. They start to feel this unseen, unknown peace, happiness within. Why? Because your mind is letting go, stop clinging, desiring, simply be present. That's the very idea. Right? And let's say when you develop this practice into a certain level, right? The Dhamma or the practice works within you. Your mind becomes peaceful a little. According to that peace that appears, according to that mindfulness that develops, your mind starts to discipline in a way. You develop the practice. According to that practice, your mind disciplines itself. You are not trying to force the discipline. That's what most of the Buddhists try to do. They try to force the discipline first. It's a good thing. Instead of doing nothing, it's good. But forcing the discipline won't do. Why? Because your mind is not ready to accept that level of discipline. Right? So the mind is crazy and you try to force discipline on it. You can do it for a while, but soon you realize it is not successful. Because the mind, you have to uplift it. You have to uplift it into a certain level. Then only you can see a certain discipline within you. Right? So, in a way, when you practice, you uplift your mind. You uplift it into a certain level. And according to that level, there will be a discipline in your mind. Right? So, that's how it works. And that's how Buddha explains this path. You practice within, you develop the Dhamma or the practice within you, and as a result, your mind is disciplined into a certain level. Again, in that foundation, you practice further. You develop the Dhamma within you even further. And as a result, the mind will be disciplined even further. Right? So that's how it works. So that's why we say for everyone, the starting point would be mindfulness. You can start at some other point. You can start with discipline first, but most of the time it won't work. So if you start with mindfulness, then you might complain that I am doing all these bad deeds. I have so much evil within me. That's fine. That's fine. But mindfulness is a good starting point. And when you develop mindfulness, you start to feel how much evil is within me, how many bad deeds that you are doing. Probably lying is a good example, right? You start to get the count. You start to keep accounts. Earlier you lied, you didn't even have accounts. You didn't know how many lies you tell within a day. But when you start practicing, when you try to be mindful, you can feel this many lies I told within a day. I had to do it for work, you might say. You might have various excuses for it. But still, when you start counting, when you start keeping accounts, that's progress. At least now you know that you are lying. At least now you know that this many lies are happening within a day. That's progress. And when you develop your mindfulness little bit, you can see you can let go of the lying a little. Automatically the mind behaves in certain situations. Sometimes instead of lying, you can keep a different way of answering. Right? So that type of a behavior, that type of behaving oneself will arise. There are so many ways to avoid a certain situation. There are so many ways to avoid lying. So that way you will develop certain skills, certain ways of avoiding them. What caused this change? The noticing of these lies, keeping accounts, that's what caused these changes. So you can see when you become mindful in your mind, as a result, the mind will discipline a little, right? And that's a good foundation. Then again, you develop your mindfulness further, and as a result, the mind will develop further, right? So that way, when you continue, you can realize the mind easily lets go. Sometimes there were addictions in you. You felt like you couldn't let go of them, but little by little, they disappear. You are not trying, you are not forcing it, but naturally, there's no need for it. That's how the practice will influence you. That's how the practice will uplift you. Earlier, these addictions felt like they are part of your life. But now, you can survive without them. But I am not suggesting this will happen within a week. I am not suggesting this will happen within a month. Gradually, when you develop practice, gradually these changes will happen. When you develop your mindfulness, the mind will automatically discipline accordingly. Right? So that way, we can really see that the happiness is arising in our mind. You are not seeking, desiring happiness, but instead by letting go, you find happiness within. You live in the world, you face problems, you go to work, you do all these things. But among these things, your mind is happy and peaceful. It feels like there's some distance between the world and your mind. a distance, it can do marvelous things. If there is no distance, then you become too emotional. The pain is unbearable. You are unable to deal with certain situations. But if there's little distance, that little distance can do marvels for you. A metaphor of a traffic jam. When you are in a traffic jam, when you are in a vehicle, that's one hell of an experience. You can't move forward, you can't move backward. You are stuck in the same place for hours on end. Right? You get stressed, you start honking your horn, but nothing works. So you can see, being in a traffic jam for hours, how much stress that will create. But imagine a person who is traveling in a light airplane. He has a little distance, maybe like few hundred yards. That very distance will create a whole difference in his way of perceiving this traffic jam. It's a very nice scenery for him. All these different color vehicles are arranged in a certain way. Right? He has some distance, a distance of few yards, and as a result, he doesn't feel that stress in the traffic jam. Instead, it's simply a nice scenery for him. Right? Same goes for our mind. When we have no distance in the mind, it is overwhelming. You can't handle certain situations. You become too emotional. You break down. But if you can create a certain distance in this mind, the world is there. The things are happening. People are behaving in their usual ways. But among all these things, your mind is having a little distance, and that distance make it so much easier for you to survive. Sometimes they come and complain why you are not emotional, why you are not crying, why you are not engaging with us. All those complaints come because even the family members, even the society, they want you to behave in a certain way. When there is something to get angry, they want you to get angry. When there is something to be sad, they want you to cry. When there is some problem, they want you to break down. Right? So that's the expectation of the society or the family. But when you have a certain distance from this world, you can feel that you are there. You are experiencing all those things, but still you are unmoved. That's the great result of this practice. You are doing your things, you are dealing with this world, but you have a distance within your mind, and that distance makes it much easier for you to survive this world. How to create this distance? The source of this distance is mindfulness. When you're mindful for a moment, you are creating a little distance within your mind. Let's say there are thoughts, but you are simply mindful that there are thoughts. You are creating a little distance from these thoughts. There are emotions. You are mindful of these emotions. You are creating a little distance. So that way, when you develop this practice, as a result, the mind will have a certain distance from this world. The world is vibrating at a high frequency, but your mind is not. That change is there. With that, I think you can truly begin to be happy in this world. So that's the idea for today. Thanks for listening.
Thank you, Bhante. The next on the agenda is the reports that we have been sent and questions and answers. So to conduct this session, I invite Chamari to start.
Okay. So for the Q&A, we have the I think Sonali will share, or Tharindu will share the links to the two little videos that were provided by the Nissarana Vanaya about walking meditation, how to do a walking and sitting mindfulness practice. Yeah, so as you see on the screen, and for anyone else, you can also pick up the recording later on. And when you allocate a small time daily and maybe just start with 5 minutes of each walking and sitting practice, when it's developed to at least half an hour of each, or ideally 1 hour of each, then you can share your experience as a reflective report. Just and ask any questions or make statements. So for the walking, you can actually have any walking sensations that you feel when you're walking, when the mind moves away from walking as the object, anything that goes on during that time can go into a report with a question or just your experience. And do the same with the sitting. How the body felt when you sat, and if you're taking breath as your primary object, how you recognized breath, in breath, out breath, and any other prominent sensations, pressure points, incoming and outgoing breath, either at the nostrils or rising and fall of stomach or any other sensation. Then please send the report to via Google form, which is actually given on the screen, and it's in the chat now, and also via email. So it's best that if you can actually type in the Google form or type as the email body. Otherwise, we might find it difficult to read. If sent as photographs, it's hard to read others or your handwriting. And if you want to listen to any previous recordings, including this one later on, that will be also in the chat, link for it. And with that, I will move to, there are two reports. I will move to the first one. Let me just see. So it starts with Venerable Swamin Mahansa. According to your advice, I thought of unfolding my current practice. Swamin Mahansa, mindful walk. Firstly, I walked up and down several times freely. Then I stood at the edge and did a body
Summary.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's very faint for me, the sound. Sonali, can you hear?
I can hear you.
I can hear, yes.
Compared to your sound, it's very faint. Is there a way to increase the volume from your side?
I have increased fully.
Slightly speak up. It is a little softer.
Okay. I'm looking at these reports in a bigger screen at the back as well. I don't know whether... Can you hear me, Bhante, now?
Now it's better. Yeah.
Okay, I'll go with this. Venerable Swami Mahansa, according to your advice, I thought of unfolding my current practice. Swami Mahansa, mindful walk. Firstly, I walked up and down several times freely. Then I stood at the edge and did a body scan. After that, I walked ahead observing my feet as left and right. Thoughts came to my mind after observing 6 footsteps. I heard singing of birds. I felt hardness and roughness of the... Let me get the next picture. Photos have been sent really. Floor. The floor was damp and rather cold. Mindful sit. I sat down on the flat cushion in easy pose. I observed the body and it was like a statue. My mind was rather agitated, so I listened to sounds of the environment. Naturally, attention was drawn by rising and falling of the belly. Various thoughts drew my attention, but I managed to observe 4 breaths. I heard noises. There was pain in my head. I gradually observed it. First of all, it was vague, but gradually it became conspicuous in certain places. It was a sharp pain. At some other places of head, the pain was like throbbing. At another place, it was like nailing. When I continued my observation, the pain ceased. I was able to draw my attention to abdominal movements back again. I felt a relief. My mind persuaded me to sit longer in that peaceful, calm state. That's the end of the report, Bhante.
Okay, now let's say your practice, you are able to stay with few steps, stay with few breaths. So that's a great start. And time to time, various thoughts surrounding sounds, they grab your attention. But in your report, you have clearly mentioned that you can return back to the original object. For example, feeling the hardness of the ground again, right? So this way, although it is for like few breaths, time after time, you can return to the same object. If you know this art, if you know the art of returning to the object, if you know the art of verifying that you have returned to the object, then there is no real harm in the wandering mind. The mind might wander into thoughts, heights, sounds, but there is no real damage or harm because you know that it will return again back to the primary object, right? That assurance you have to develop little by little. No matter the mind goes away, it will return. When you have that assurance, you don't worry about the wandering mind. It goes, but again it comes back. That's the nature of the mind, right? So you have to develop that confidence. By repetitive practice, little by little, we get to experience how the mind is returning to the primary object, how the mind is returning to the feet, how the mind is returning to the breathing. It is happening. It is the natural way of this mind. And when you have that assurance or when you have that ability, then you don't have to worry that much. The beginners will tell you that the mind is wandering, it won't come back, the breath, I can't feel it. All those complaints are there. But when you practice repetitively, you develop the confidence. You know that although the mind wanders, it will return. And when it wanders, you don't have to worry that much. You wait patiently and the mind will naturally return to the original object. Right? That's the way to develop this practice. And when you have developed that confidence in the practice, you can really see that some bad karma or past wounds, they start healing in a way. The healing process happens when you allow this mind to freely go out and come back in. Healing happens when you develop that confidence in the practice. And you can see sometimes the past childhood incidents are rushing to your mind. But you allow it to happen because you know the mind is naturally returning to the primary object. Sometimes there are certain pains in your body. When you do your daily things, it's not there. But as soon as you sit in the meditation, you start to feel a headache or some similar pain in your body. So these things are more like the karmic forces or psychological wounds that are there. When you allow them to manifest, when you wait patiently, that's the way to let go of these psychological wounds or karmic forces. You can develop that ability not within a day, not within a week, little by little. You let them more exposure. They come, they last for a while, then they go again. Again, next day they might come. Right? So this way, you allow them more and more exposure. And when that happens, you can see that the healing process has begun. That's a great healing process that will happen. Your mind will be lighter and lighter in the process. Right? So have the courage to face these things. Patiently, if you face them, mindfully, if you face them, then you are putting an end to these psychological wounds or karmic forces. If you start acting on them, then again more additional things are created. So little by little, patiently, you have to face them. Courageously, you have to face them. I think you are off to a good start. So good luck and keep on practicing.
Thank you for that feedback, Bhante. The second report, sitting meditation. Primary object, watching the free movement of the mind. Initially, thoughts noted and the mind observed breath, more prominent in left nostril. The face on the right not felt to be present, and the body started moving rhythmically, gathering pace. Initially, an urge appeared to stop the movement, but remembered was just watching what was unfolding. Gradually, the movement of body slowed down, and mind went back to breath, this time in both nostrils. Observed the pins and needles and discomfort in feet and legs, but no urge to change position. Changing nature of each of the above, thoughts, perceptions, pain, sensations, observed, and mind noting the non-self nature of these, and happening without anyone doing anything. More thoughts appeared about other feelings, felt bloating in tummy, the air element, hardness of one hand on the other, solidity, and warmth, as well as sweaty feeling, the water element. Meditated for 45 minutes, but time felt a lot shorter. Mindfulness in the day. Left mobile phone in a bag in a shop, but realized it after the shop had closed. After initial feeling of, oh no, mind thought it would be good to take this opportunity to be without the phone for an evening. As I was possibly the last customer, and it was a small shop, felt confident phone would be there if I went as soon as the shop opened the next day. If not, I just would have to deal with a lost phone. Mind very calm and thought of the practical things I need to do, given I had no phone for the next few hours. Usually join a meditation group on the phone, but decided to meditate despite not joining the group at the usual time. The phone was recovered the next morning with 49 unread WhatsApp messages, with much gratitude to Bhante and organizers. That's the end of the report, Bhante.
Okay, so if I start with the first part, you mentioned that simply watching what was unfolding. That's a great way to, perceive the practice. These things, we haven't invited them, but they are happening, right? So they are happening due to some causes, right? So simply by watching what was unfolding, that's the best way to deal with them. If you start acting positively or negatively, then you create additional things. We simply watch what was unfolding. Like you are sitting on a river bank and simply watching the river flow, right? That ability is important. Usually we have to interfere. Usually we have to meddle. That's the nature of the mind, but the practitioners, they develop this ability. One time there was this meditator, I told him that just like a river that flows, you simply watch. And he came after 6 months and he was telling Bhante, you told me to watch like a river and that's flowing. In our area, we don't have rivers. So there was this some kind of a waterfall or something. So I created this mental picture of that and I started watching. So he took that metaphor literally, right? But in a way, the mind creates all these things. You haven't invited them. They are unfolding. You simply watch. That's the best way to deal with them. If we can't, then we have to interfere. If we can't, we have to meddle in them. Right? So that ability you have developed, sometimes the body rocks, sometimes certain things appear, sometimes past memories, childhood memories, they start rushing towards you. Right? So whatever happens, you haven't invited them. It's unfolding due to some causes. So simply watch it. That approach is very nice. And even the daily incidents in your daily life, most of these things, they are simply unfolding events. Right? If you really think about them, you haven't invited them. You haven't invited those problems. You haven't invited those people. They are happening, unfolding due to some causes. Right? So a great approach towards your daily life, simply watch what is unfolding. It's not easy to watch. We have to interfere. That's our mind will tell. We have to meddle in these things. That's what the urge will tell us. But gradually, little by little, we develop that ability. Simply things are unfolding. You watch. There was this very nice story about Buddha. One time he was seated, probably like evening time, and the darkness was appearing, and he could see all the insects that are burning in the lamp. The insects, they come towards the light and they burn in the lamp. But Buddha didn't try to meddle in that. He was simply watching. He was seeing that this is the nature of the world. These creatures, according to their karmic forces, they come, they burn in this oil lamp. Sometimes they drop after burning half, then again they gather the energy and jump towards the flame. Right? So this is the nature. He didn't try to remove the insects. He didn't try to remove the lamp. He didn't meddle. He simply watched, reflecting that this is the nature of the world. Right? So same attitude we try to develop. And it's a nice experience spending a night without the phone. For some people, that could be one of the most dreadful experiences. We don't know how much we are attached to these things. We don't know how much these devices are controlling us. There was this quote or something. The smartphones have gotten so smart, they have outsmarted us. Right? So AI, all those options, with them they can outsmart us. And we are hooked with the devices. Earlier humans, when you draw them with a club. Modern humans, when you draw them, you draw them with a phone. Right? Buried in a phone. That's the image of the modern humans. But among all these things, we have the ability to be independent. You can use the technology, that's not a problem. You can use them for your advantage. Make it a tool instead of allowing the technology to make you a tool. Right? So that's the very idea. And it's nice experiment. The thoughts that are rushing, the idea of losing the phone, then planning the recovery, all the meetings, people that you want to get touch with, right? So all those thoughts, planning, memories rush. But among all these things, you can meditate. Simply watch what is unfolding. And 49 WhatsApp messages. That's not so bad, I guess. Only 49. Yes. Right. So that's how it is. Little by little, whenever these things happen, you can use it as a part of your meditation. Watch how the things are unfolding. Watch how much we are hooked with these things. That very experience, that very practice is the way. Thanks for sharing your experience.
Thank you very much, Bhante, for that valuable feedback. Maybe we've got 3-4 minutes left, and I need to leave in about a couple of minutes. I've got another appointment starting at 10. Sonali, you'd be able to wrap up if you need to.
Yes. See if there are any questions, maybe.
Yeah. Just if anyone has any questions or a statement that you would like to make about the talk today or about mindfulness practice, please raise your Zoom hand and then we will allow you to ask the question. No raised hands. Maybe everything is very clear.
That's fine, Shamali. I will take on from now then.
Thank you so much.
And so the path to happiness is quite clear to everybody. So there are no questions today as well. It is now time to end the session. Thank you to everyone who shared your reports and for Bhante's guidance. On behalf of the organizers, we would like to thank Venerable Homagama Dhamma Kusala Thero for his continued guidance on this program. And of course, we cannot forget the Chief Abbot of Nissarana Vanaya, Venerable Bhante Udairiyagama Dhammajiva Mahathero, whose idea was to initiate this program. May these merits help them improve their own practice as well. Thank you to the organizers who are maintaining and managing this program, and thank you to much merits to everyone who shared reports and participated via Zoom, Facebook live stream, or anyone who may be watching this program later. As usual, our program will commence at 1 p.m. in Sri Lankan time, and we wish everyone a happy and mindful week ahead. I will now end the session for everybody.